Miles, a troubled teenager living in a desolate desert town, stumbles upon Axel, a powerful but malfunctioning robotic dog. He repairs the dog and activates its owner-pairing technology, forging a bond deep enough to almost make his not-girlfriend friend Sarah jealous. News of Axel's disappearance reaches the ruthless corporation that created him. They dispatch a team of agents to retrieve their weapon. Miles and Axel must evade capture while unraveling the truth about Axel's purpose. The movie begins with a voiceover explaining that humanity has been attempting to create assets resembling dogs, possessing loyalty like dogs but capable of being used as precise killing machines in wars. There have been past attempts at such endeavors, but none have officially succeeded. After years of hard work, it seems that some scientists are finally nearing success. Next, we witness Miles Hill, an aspiring motorcyclist, participating in a motorcycle race. During a turn, the chain of his motorcycle snaps, causing him to fall on the ground. He retrieves the bike and the broken chain and exits the track to find his father, Chuck. Chuck informs him that they don't have a spare chain, meaning they can't proceed to the next race. They lack the funds to assemble a team and acquire spare parts for Miles' racing aspirations. Meanwhile, the winner of the current race, named Fontaine, celebrates his victory. Miles approaches him, asking for help and if they could provide a spare chain for the upcoming race, which is scheduled to start in a few minutes. He also offers to pay for the chain. However, they disrespect Miles and Chuck, laughing at them and refusing to give them the chain. A young lady from their camp, sitting nearby, is drawing something on a notepad and overhears everything. She tears out the page of her drawing, which Miles takes before returning to his motorcycle. After a while, the girl returns with a set of chain and silently hands it to Miles. Miles and his father quickly repair their motorbike with the chain. Now they are ready for their next race. This time, Miles performs exceptionally well in the race, defeating everyone, including everyone's special Fontaine, in the last moment. His father is proud of him at his victory. After the race, Fontaine approaches to Miles and invites him to a party at his place and then departs. The girl who helped Miles with the chain is also seen sitting beside Fontaine in his car. Chuck suggests that Miles should attend the party and try to make wealthy friends who can help him advance to higher-level races. While Miles dreams of becoming a motocross racer, his father believes he should also aim for other options for a better future beyond racing. Their relationship is strained, especially since the death of Miles' mother. Miles frequently disagrees with Chuck, feeling disheartened about his academic performance due to his very poor grades. He's unsure if he'll be able to get admission to any college. The scene shifts to a tech company named Crane Systems, where scientists Andrick and Randall are searching for a missing asset of theirs. A robotic dog named Axel Attack Exploration Logistics. Axel is designed as a killing machine intended to eliminate enemies in wars. However, it's still in the testing phase and could pose a significant danger to humanity. The situation intensifies as Axel manages to escape from the labs, leaving scratches on the walls. They must find it urgently because they have a conference in 2 days where they need to present the robot. They have received significant funds for this project and need Axel for the presentation. They send a lot of mini-drones in the search of Axel. At night, Miles attends the party at Fontaine's house. Fontaine is a wealthy kid who relies on his affluent father. Fontaine is also fond of extreme sports. He enjoys showing off and records his activities to upload online. At the party, Fontaine sets a car on fire and records the act for uploading. However, Miles is not the type to engage in such stunts. So he goes from there and meets the same girl from the racetrack who had helped him with the chain. Her name is Sarah and she lives with her mother Johanna, who works for Fontaine's family. Miles also admires the superbikes owned by Fontaine and desires one for himself. After some conversation with Sarah, Miles decides to leave the party. The next morning, while Miles is washing his bike, he is invited by Sam and his friends to ride around the hills and capture videos of his motorcycle skills. They praise his exceptional biking abilities and suggest that he should showcase them to the world. Miles agrees and joins them. During the ride, when Miles isn't looking, Sam's friends pour a purple drink into Miles's tank. As a result, he crashes while attempting a jump, falling off a cliff and sustaining numerous injuries. Sam and his friends record the incident, intending to mock him by uploading the video online. Afterward, they abandon Miles in the wilderness with only a bag and a jug of fuel. After some time, Miles gathers his breath and stands up. He refills his tank and tries to start the bike, but it still doesn't work. Not far away, he hears some noise and goes to investigate. In the darkness of a closed container, he sees a subscribe button for this channel. He also sees glowing red robotic eyes. It's Axel, who initially sees him as a threat, so tries to attack Miles. Scared, Miles runs off and Axel follows, but Miles on his bike outpaces him. Everything is being recorded by the camera on Miles' helmet. See, Miles jumps from a cliff with Axel following. But Axel falls, sustaining multiple injuries. Miles shows Axel that he means no harm. He untangles Axel from the metal, where he fell, and compassionately repairs him, using parts from his own motorbike. He refills Axel's tank, and Axel begins to behave friendly toward him. They even have a friendly race together. Amazed at finding a robot dog, Miles tries to decide what to do with Axel and decides to stay overnight with him. Meanwhile, Miles' father, Chuck, leaves a voice message, concerned about Miles' whereabouts since he hasn't returned home that night. The next morning, while Fontaine and his friends are mocking the video of Miles, which gained 2,000 views overnight, Sarah arrives and asks about Miles' whereabouts since he hasn't been answering calls. She's concerned about Miles and gets his location from Fontaine before departing for his search. She locates Miles but encounters Axel there. Initially frightened, Sarah quickly warms up to Axel when Miles demonstrates that Axel is friendly. Now Axel has two friends. They spend the night sitting around a campfire, sharing personal stories like Miles' mother's death and Sarah's absent father. Axel surprises them by opening disco lights and playing Sarah's favorite music, and they enjoy dancing together. Meanwhile, Andrick and Randall continue to monitor Axel's movements and interactions through drones they've deployed. In the morning, they witness Miles discovering a special key inside Axel, granting him full control and access to Axel, effectively making him its administrator. Sarah and Miles guide Axel toward the city. While refueling at a gas station, Axel hacks into the station's network and pays for the gas. He also hacks into a nearby ATM and withdraws a large sum of money. Miles takes the money and swiftly departs after concealing Axel under a large cover. They then take Axel to an abandoned place where Sarah showcases her drawing skills on the wall. Axel mimics her movements and creates a similar artwork on the wall. Suddenly, something activates within Axel, revealing a video that explains his true nature as a designed killing machine. Miles reassures Axel that this isn't what defines him. Johanna asks Fontaine about Sarah's whereabouts, and he tracks her location on his mobile phone. He then goes to the abandoned place to find her. Sarah confronts Fontaine when he insinuates that she's leaving him for Miles. In a fit of rage, Fontaine attempts to attack Miles, but Axel intervenes and pounces on Fountain. Sarah urges Miles to stop Axel from harming Fontaine. Miles warns Fontaine to stay away from Sarah before releasing him. However, this only complicates matters, as it creates tension between Fontaine's family and Sarah's. Meanwhile, the scientists observe how Miles is controlling the machine, seeing it as a success in their project, which was previously struggling. They are pleased that the interaction between a human and their machine has improved the project's progress. Once Miles and Sarah return to Miles' house after hiding Axel, Miles attempts to explain Axel's presence to Chuck, but Chuck refuses to let his son keep something dangerous and illegal. He suggests handing over Axel to the military, but Miles disagrees, pointing out bullet marks on Axel's body. This indicates that Axel has been mistreated by its creators, prompting it to flee. Meanwhile, Fontaine and his accomplices search for Axel and attack him with a flamethrower, causing severe damage. Miles and Fontaine receive notifications on their phones about the attack and rush to save Axel. They find Axel in a very bad condition and take him back to Miles' garage for repairs. Axel gets repaired and reboots his system. Meanwhile, a security guard from the crane company arrives at Miles' house and demands to know the whereabouts of Miles' belongings, showing a gun. Chuck distracts him by sending him towards the garage and then subdues him using a bow and arrow and ties him to a chair. Meanwhile, another team reaches the garage where Axel is rebooting. Miles and Sarah are already present there who resist their intrusion. As Axel completes its restoration and restarts, it replays the memory of Fontaine attempting to kill him. After rebooting, Axel heads straight to the party to confront Fontaine, who is present there at that time. After scaring off the other partygoers, Axel attacks Fontaine, who hides himself under a van. However, Fontaine's attempt to evade Axel proves futile, so he runs and starts throwing flames at Axel. Eventually, the fuel of the flamethrower runs out, and Axel nearly kills Fontaine. Miles and Sarah intervene just in time, saving Fontaine from Axel's attack. However, drones sent by Andrick approaches there in no time and incapacitate Axel, capturing him, Miles, and Sarah. Back at Crane, Andrick attempts to interrogate Miles for the key to Axel, as he cannot unlock Axel without Miles' permission. Sarah is held captive by the reprogrammed Axel to guard her. but she manages to override his system by reminding him of who she is and that he's Sarah. Using the same pattern she made while showcasing her artistic skills earlier triggers Axel's recognition. Axel identifies Sarah's signal and assists Miles and Sarah in their escape. Just as military officials arrive to apprehend Axel and Miles break out, leaving Andric and Randall to be arrested. As drones and a military helicopter pursue Axel, Miles races alongside him on his motorbike. They both jump off from a high cliff, causing Miles to suffer multiple injuries. Realizing he cannot continue the journey with Axel, Miles urges Axel to prioritize his own safety. They share a final moment before Axel runs off into the distance, ultimately choosing to self-destruct to avoid capture. Before self-destructing, Axel safeguards important files, including the recognition of Miles and Sarah, by storing them in protected files. In the aftermath, we witness Andric being punished in jail for his wrongdoing. He had been constructing a killing machine without informing the authorities. Now, he is ordered to find the remaining parts of his Project Axel under the government's orders. Meanwhile, Miles and Sarah embark on a journey to an undisclosed location, leaving Miles' father behind. They have received scholarships from the government and are under constant surveillance by officials. After some time while they are on the beach, they receive a package from Chuck. Inside is the key to Axel. When Miles activates it, a signal appears indicating that Axel is somehow still alive and now activated. Here, the movie comes to its conclusion. It's definitely worth watching if you enjoy action-packed thriller sci-fi movies. Keep the adventure going and enjoy the next video appearing on your screen. Until then, take care and goodbye. Thanks for joining in.